Dear students, today we are going to learn about the formation of meanders and oxbolecs. Here you can see the formation of meander and oxbolec, and this side if you see, there are a number of terms written. These terms are generally used when you need to describe or explain meanders and oxbolec, even when you are describing it like the process of the formation of the oxbolec and meanders. There you need to use these terms. So we are quickly going through, run through all the terms which are generally used in the meanders and oxbolec description. It starts with lateral erosion. The first one is lateral erosion. Then we have vertical erosion. Then meander neck. Then point bar. Meander loop. Inside and outside meander. Riffle. Erosion. Deposition, oxbolec, bluff line, and floodplain. So these are the general terms, as there are 12 terms which are generally used in the description of meanders and the oxbolecs. Okay, so we need to look into the rivers, all the courses, upper course, middle course, and lower course, that how the rivers are flowing from the upper course to the lower course, and what type of generally the landforms, the rivers, erosional as well as depositional landforms, the rivers used to form. Now these terms which are written over here as meander and oxbolec are the features which are formed in the middle course or in the lower middle course. Means as the middle course is about to end, there also meanders or oxbolecs can be formed. Okay, so quickly we are going through the three courses of the river. These are, I am drawing a diagram over here, that if you see, a river generally flows in a pattern, and this pattern starts from the upper course as it enters into the middle course, and then the river ends. Right now we have to divide the entire course of the river into three parts. We can say that this is the upper course of the river. Then from this point to this point is the middle course of a river or a channel, and this is the lower course. As you can see that the river itself is dividing into so many small streams, and this is the way rivers generally flow. Okay, so we are going to talk about the middle course. Now in middle course you can see that the river, basically if you see the difference between among the upper course, middle course, and lower course, in upper course you can see the rivers are able to do more vertical erosion, and so there are valleys, gorges, and canyons are formed over there in the upper course. When the river enters into the middle course, what happens? So generally there are two things which happen in the middle course. One is the effect on the gradient. So gradient becomes very less, mountainous area gets over, river enters into the plain region, so there is no gradient or very low gradient is available in the middle course or in the plain region. Because of the low gradient, the gradient becomes very low, and so it leads to the decreasing velocity of the water. So what is the effect? That the velocity of the water decreases. Now there is no slope, the velocity has decreased, and river is carrying a lot of sediment, sand, silt, clay from the mountainous region, and that sediment is to be deposited somewhere. Now what happened in the middle course? There is no gradient, the velocity of the water has also reduced, so the river is not able to carry that much amount of load in the form of sediments. So river starts depositing it in the course or on the banks. Now due to this, the river flow also becomes very slow. Now the river doesn't have the force to erode, and that is why the river will start taking turns. So what happened if we take this portion of the middle course over here, then what will happen that in the middle course the river is entering and is flowing in a sense, in a way that the river itself okay, is it visible? Let me try other way. The river is flowing this way in the middle course because of the less gradient. The river takes a lot of turns. This feature is also described. There are 3-4 terms which are used to describe a meander. Okay, so here you can see that the river has started taking turns, right? Now first of all, the outer line, this line, the outer side, these outer sides are known as outside of meander. Here also there is outside, right? Same way you can have, these are also the outsides, right? And this portion, if you see, this is inside, right? So this is inside, this one is inside, this one is outside, 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 inside, inside, inside. This way the meanders forms outside and inside. Now the river is flowing in a particular way. We are showing the flow also, that the flow is towards that side. The river is originating from somewhere and then is entering in the middle course from this side, and it will end over there. Now here if you see what has happened, because of the low gradient and low velocity of the water, the river has started taking turns. So this way the force will be more over the outside bands. Outside band will experience more force. Now if any of the river is applying more force on the outside, it means that the force will result into the erosion of that side also. So outside it will do the erosion, right? In all the outsides will experience erosion. The outside there are erosion. So outside there is erosion, and inside the river has to deposit something. So all the inside meanders will experience deposition. Okay, so these areas will have the deposition, whereas the outside meanders will have the erosion, right? So erosion and deposition happen this way. Now the river which is carrying a material, okay, definitely the material which has been eroded over here, it will be deposited. It may be deposited here, it may be deposited on the inside the bank. So if the deposition is happening in the middle of the meanders, if for example if the deposition is happening inside the band or inside the bed of the river, then this is known as riffle. This is your riffle. So riffles are formed inside or in the river bed. River itself forms the riffles. Fine. Here there are other things also, that when the deposition will continuously took place, the as you can see that inside there is the deposition. So this area will have deposition, and later on this deposition of the sediments over the inside meander, this will result into the formation of point bar. Okay, so inside the meander point bars are going to be formed because that area is going to be deposited. Here also the point bar will be formed. Here also point bars are going to be formed. Now what is the neck of the meander? This portion, if you see, this is the entry. So from here the river is entering, this way the river is flowing, and here it is coming out. So this portion is known as, this is the meander neck. So meander neck is formed over here, right? Now look at the other terms. Lateral erosion. Okay, so we are talking about lateral and vertical erosion. I have already told you about erosion and deposition. So lateral and vertical erosion, how it will happen? As you can see that outside there is more force of the water. The water is coming from one side and is forcing a particular side of the river. So this side will have more force, and because of that vertically the river will go down. It will cut down that much part in the form of the erosion, and river will also try to extend the bed of the river. So banks are also going to extend, and more extension is possible on the outside part because the river has more force and river is eroding more over there. Fine. Now this entire region, from this region to the area which has been drained by a single river, this entire region from here to here, this entire region will be, we can call it as flood plain. So the flood plain is nothing but the area which has been drained by a river. So a single river can cover this much area in the course, in the middle course. So this entire region will convert into a flood plain. Flood plain means something, the area which can be drained or which can be flooded by a single river system. So when a single river is able to flood the entire region, entire area, then it will be known as flood plain. Okay, and this is the boundary. You can see this line is actually showing the boundary. So that boundary line is known as bluff line. This is your bluff line. Okay, so now again you can go back that the meanders are formed this way, that the river reduces the force is reduced, velocity becomes low, gradient is very low, and because of that the river is not able to carry that much amount of load. River used to deposit it. The plain area gives some kind of obstacles to the river. So river has no force, so river starts bending. This band is also known as horseshoe bend, or it can be called as winding curves. Winding curves or the horseshoe bend of a river is known as meander. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for watching this video.